Yo, what's up? This is Mikey Dab, and welcome to the Hype Report. Each week we recap the biggest stories from HYPEBEAST directly from the minds of the editorial team. I'm here to connect the dots. Let's get into this week's show.
Hey, it's Manny, music editor here at HYPEBEAST. It's a pretty exciting week because Kanye slightly, maybe, sort of confirmed that he's coming out with a new album in September. It's kicked off with Kim posting a track listing plus the title and possible release date of an album.
We're going to get into some of those track titles.
Yes.
Right. I need you to just elaborate so maybe some of the people listening don't know what the track titles are.
The track title, so the tentative track title, hopefully it is this time, is Jesus is King. The release date is September, it looks like the 27th. And some of the tracks are, there's Garden, there's Salih, there's God Is, Baptized, Hands On, Walk the Dead, Water. Just very religious themed records. So it's interesting to see that like Kanye is really diving into his Sunday service kind of theme that he's been doing for the last, I would say a few months. And so it's interesting to see like this is the direction he wants to go in, and the direction that fans have been asking for since, I want to say, for a few years now, especially since post My Dark Twisted Fantasy. Fans kind of when he went to Ye. Ye was, for me, is fantastic. But
I loved Ye. I'm not gonna.
But I do know Kanye West fans who kind of deterred, was like, this is just too out there for me. When he went to Pablo, fans then were like, okay, Kanye, we need to get the gospel thing, because when he shines, it's with, elements of gospel within it.
So I feel like this album was a completely different album. Mm-hmm. When he first was launched, there was no speak of gospel. It was more 100%. Or less Yandi was just a title. It was going to drop it. It was going to be this low key thing, pushback, blowback from conversations and situations, and now all of a sudden Sunday service kicked off. Sunday service has got to be about a year old.
Yeah,
he's been doing that. So, yeah. Now we have the emergence of Yandi again, or possible different title. What was the title that we were?
Jesus is King.
So Yandi's out. Jesus is King.
Yeah.
And reacclimating back into society, a certain society.
Exactly.
Let's go with that. So I'll let you take that one.
Yeah. So while we don't know the status of Yandi, what has been happening also previously before this project, Jesus is King, has been teased, is that tracks off Yandi has been leaked, and they're clearly like some of them is referencing, some of them it's like you could tell it's first cut, just because like Kanye sometimes
he's a fickle dude.
Yeah, he hums his like his melodies and then comes up with the words after, and then you can hear the roughness and just like the very crudeness of the track. So it's very much the first leg of an album, but a lot of it leaked, and so a lot of essentially the theme of the album is out for Yandi. And so Pusha T spoke out even on Twitter about it and was like, it's kind of disappointing that this is happening, and it ruins the whole process of making the album. And other people have spoken out, some producers. And so it looks like he shelved Yandi, in my opinion, and now going completely into religious Kanye. So religious Kanye stems from like Jesus Walks. That's what made Kanye who he is. Like this is one of the first times where a rapper became popular because he infused gospel music within his raps, and like just
that's classic though.
Yeah,
that's classic. Yeah, like that's that feeling. I got the chills just
exactly.
Just walks right now. So
it's exciting to see this, but it's also apprehensive, because the issue with Kanye is because before the Sunday service started, Kanye was very problematic. This is when he started with associating himself with Trump. This is when he started rocking the magma hat and was like trying to make that into a statement. This is when he came out, we went on TMZ and said slavery was a choice. So this is Kanye when he was literally his most toxic. And so some people are apprehensive because all that damage that happened, now it seems like Kanye knows. It seems like Kanye is appealing, especially to his black audience, with the Sunday service, with the doubling down on the gospel in the church, because that's something that's very powerful within the black diaspora in general. Just like church is very something that's very strong, and that You know, the belief system is something that it's a ticket. And so it could be argued that this is a marketing scheme to get back in the good graces of his fan base, of his I would say his older fan base. But this also could be Kanye kind of figuring himself out. So there's a bit of a apprehension, I would say, with a lot of Kanye's older fans that have been with him through the years. And but for the younger fans, it's just they don't care at all.
So his bipolar is his superpower. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
The way I envision what's happening here is that he caught a lot of blowback, and he's a very emotional person.
Very much.
And he wants to relay his feeling, and when people don't understand it, that's when he kind of caves. That's when he loses all sight of what's going on, and he has his episodes, as they say.
Yeah.
I feel like this is him grounding back out.
Yeah.
This is him reaching back down into the ground and be like, okay, let me stabilize myself. I understand where they might have misperceived what I was trying to say or the point I was trying to prove. Things got a little wild. Let's bring it back home. Yeah. So, and that's when honestly, that's really when Sunday service started.
Yeah.
If you think about like the timeline of how things transpired for him and where we're at right now, that's definitely what took place, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure, like, if you were to put pen to paper and just follow the track, that's exactly where we'd end up this year. So I'm not mad about it.
For me personally, I'm curious to see where this goes because Kanye is someone. He is the artist. He's an artist. Like, he is someone that when he's locked in and cares, he makes brilliant pieces of work, and he's someone that, because he's an artist, he's very emotional and wears his emotions on his sleeve, and so sometimes that derails the positive things that he does.
They find a way to pick him apart.
Yeah, but I would say, like, he was very problematic for the last couple of years with just the way, just the kind of this, like, the opinions he just assumed as fact and just not understanding what the impact and the stuff that he was saying. And so I understand the apprehension, and even as a lifelong Kanye fan, I'm apprehensive because.
Are you really?
Just because, like, Sunday service was convenient. It's very much so, like, at the lowest where people are like, literally, this is the first time where stars are openly, like, distancing themselves from him. He comes back with Sunday service. And so the optics looks a little shaky, like, and then having Sunday service on Easter and then looking at the videos of that and be like, oh, this is really cool. But then also separating himself and the band on a hill and everybody else looking up, just like, okay, is this sacrilegious? Or is Kanye going back to Kanye, I'm a god?
Just lights behind him as everybody glares up.
People are like, whoa, this feels really cultish, etc. So I take things, I take things with Kanye with a grain of salt. Like, I love him as a musician. I'm not looking for him to be my guiding light of morality. But I would say this is probably one of the most interesting times for Kanye because I don't think it's going to make or break him, but this is a big chapter, I think, in his story.
I think it's a very key moment in his life, actually. I mean, not to rebuttal you too much, but
No.
Like, I definitely see that it's either make or break.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely is make or break for him because nothing prior to was really enough.
Yeah.
And then he went a little off the hinge.
Yeah.
And now he's back, but from different perspectives of different people and different cultures of people, he's not sitting too pretty.
Yeah.
Like, aside from, like, his family life with Kim, because Kim is probably keeping him afloat right now.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it.
Yeah.
And she's become just as much of a troll as him, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
But he needs this to be a success.
100%.
I think if this isn't a success, we don't know where he's going to go after this.
100%. Because I think from Pablo up into Kids See Ghosts, I think it's been cool and it's been interesting to see, like, his creative endeavors. Just because Pablo was very much like, he was updating the songs like weeks after it came out. And then you got the whole 777, and then it was cool to, like, he's doing that. But honestly, some of it felt rushed. Like, he did the cover art the day of the listening. And so I'm just generally happy that it's been a while that he's been dropped music, and he's looked like he's taking his time.
Which is the only thing I do appreciate about this project.
Exactly.
It's taken time.
Yes.
I mean, listen, like, being in such a bright light, it's hard to delineate what people are just throwing at you for the media reasons or what's really real about the situation. Like, that might be his process. That's been his process the whole time, doing something last minute because that's when the juices are really flowing. I get that. But, like, he's being picked apart no matter what he does.
100%.
Whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's anybody. Like, everybody's looking for a reason to be like, oh, Kanye did this or Kanye did that. But, like, at the end of the day, I want to see if his work is still there.
Yep. I think everyone wants to see that. It to be like another marker. And I feel like when he drops music, it's like a marker. It's like a time period. It'd be like, okay, here's another marker in hip hop time period. So yeah, let's see what this does.
All right, man. Appreciate you for stopping by.
No problem.
Daps on the mic.
Always.
If you want to stay up on the latest music news, check out HYPEBEAST Music on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/music.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Robert Marshall, senior editor over at HYPEBEAST, covering mostly footwear, sports, and sportswear. Today, I'm going to talk a bit about the glass helmet project.
Ooh.
Right? For one, it's timely. NFL season started last night with a very defensive-minded game. Got home pretty late last night. We had a Hype Bay anniversary party. You know, shout out to them.
It was a good party. It was a good party.
Fun party. So we'll watch the fourth quarter of that. But yesterday, LeBron James and his Uninterrupted crew, along with his longtime friend and business partner Maverick Carter, unveiled the glass helmet project. I think people were taking it a bit too seriously. I think it was more of kind of an initiative to present this idea. But in short, it is really just a resin kind of transparent helmet to give athletes more of a platform, especially in football. That's always been a thing, that football players aren't marketable because they're not seen. You don't know their faces. If they walk down the street, you wouldn't notice they're a football player. That's the argument. But I think if you saw a football player, you'd be like, yeah, that guy probably plays football. He's 6 whatever, 250. Yeah, he probably plays a sport.
The thing about this whole project that was confusing was, yes, it did seem like it was this kind of biography on the football player who, is behind the scenes, that wants to be known but isn't known, and feels like they're just being put in these little cages, so to speak, and that's who you are. You're not John Jones. You're a running back, and that's your position, so that's who you are. But it doesn't change anything unless they make these a legal thing. Like, you're still wearing the same helmet. You're still doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
So I have little art projects that I do. One is with resin. So I like to make these little things with glowing, whatever, it doesn't matter. Are you guys going to start making helmets out of those? Like, is that going to be like a legitimate thing? Is that going to pass safety things? Is Antonio Brown going to be happy with it? Like, I don't know how this is going to end up being like a legitimate thing. So I don't know, you continue a little more.
I don't think, and that's the thing, I don't. They were presenting it more of the idea of it, because even the first argument or first thing I thought of was, what about the padding inside of it? You can't really make that clear. You would still not be able to see like the
they
player
can't see
entirely.
the sarcasm on my face. Like,
Word up. Maybe just having like the clear front or whatever. But then players have like visors and like glasses, and at the end of the day, baseball players wear hats and with brims, so it's like still hard to kind of see them. But really, again, the idea is that they were trying, again, it goes back to marketing and trying to, players want to sell their own brand and their own product.
Which is fair.
Right. But at the end of the day, they're looking to sports like basketball, where basketball culture feeds more into the street than football does, because you can wear at the end of the day, you can wear a basketball shoe, you can wear basketball shorts on the street in regular day life. You can't wear cleats. I mean, I guess you can wear a football jersey, sure.
I mean, listen, the way the world's working right now, it might be smarter to wear more padding out.
Yeah, so I mean, no, I don't think anybody's ever done it. I think that's what they were trying to really say or push with this, is that like, hey, how do we, get football players like seen and heard? And there's been a huge push. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, about football players having a voice and a platform to speak more, whether it be places like Uninterrupted, Players Tribune, and then now the initiative that the NFL and Jay-Z have partnered on. Mm-hmm. So they're getting a voice, they're being able to talk to their fans, but they were like, but they don't know who they are, they need to be seen. And, and again, they only play 1 day a week, I think it's tough. I think there's more to it than just like a glass helmet. That's going to solve the problem.
I feel like it's kind of redundant, so to speak, because like the superstars, like the person that plays the best in their respective field, everybody knows.
Absolutely, yeah.
So who is it? The guy that's third string that's not getting enough exposure. Like, he needs a glass helmet because he's sitting on the bench the whole game. Yeah. Like, I see that guy before. Like that. If you're putting in the work and you're at the top of your game every game, even if it's one game a week, it doesn't matter. Like, people will try to find you. They'll search you out. Like, they'll watch your interviews. If you have something going on, if you have that's how you get acclaim from your sport.
Right.
Being able to see the person shouldn't really make a difference. It's your skill level that should speak for you. But it's just a little. I feel like it's reaching, so to speak.
Yeah, I think again, a lot of people were throwing a lot of shade and flack at LeBron and the team for it, saying that he was like Marcellus. He was calling him King Midas, and saying that like like kind of anything he touches, people or he pursues or presents is like people would just kind of jump on it and agree with it. But
it's true.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll say it. It's true.
LeBron, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm backing LeBron 100%. But again, I think they were just presenting the idea to say like, hey, it's possible that we can have these clear helmets, and just opening up the discussion and the dialogue, and that's exactly what it's done. Like, people have definitely talked about it. It's performed really well, like on our site and among our readers. A lot of comment section on both Twitter, social media, and on the site. So again, I think it's just the dialogue there is like, hey, this is an option. We're not actually sports scientists. Like, again, it was like an artist that helped create it. Like, we don't know if it could work, but hey, the athletes are interested in it, and the fans are kind of curious now. Could it be a thing? I don't know.
What I mean? It's like the guy who created chicken and waffle. He's like, I don't know. This is breakfast food. This is dinner. Yeah. This might work. It might not. Let's see how it goes. And it's delicious.
Yeah.
So I don't want to knock it too bad, but at the same time, like, it's just the idea that just because they're superstars or whoever they are might say something, it might not always be the best idea.
Right. Yeah.
But like.
Yeah.
And like I get that, of course, if you have a brand or you are a person, well, as a football player, you are your own brand with your own name on the back of your jersey.
Certainly.
So I get that, but you're also paid exorbitant amounts of money to play that position.
And it also just comes to like educating like younger players too. Like, you guys can speak up and talk about things. You do have social media. You have all these websites, like I mentioned before, and the like, and brands that are endorsing you. It's just a matter of like, what issues do you want to pursue? And I think, especially like young NFL players, like careers are short. So it's like young athletes, they don't have much on their mind other than their sport, I've spoken to a few athletes in the last few weeks that are in their 20s, like early 20s, 21, 19, just getting into the league, just getting their deals. And like, it's so much. They're just, their whole life has been about that one particular sport. And then now as they're getting money and they're growing older and they're becoming adults, now like they become more aware of the problems and issues that face their communities and their families, and that extend well beyond that. It's just a matter of, there are avenues for them to speak up. I
think that's going to be it for today's sports action.
Bob, ready?
Thanks for stopping by.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
For the latest in sports news, go to hypebeast.com/sports.
Yo, it's Keith Stiller, art editor at HYPEBEAST. What's going on, Mikey?
What are we talking about today, art editor at HYPEBEAST?
Okay, we are talking about Banksy's 17-ton commercial Volvo truck that is going to make its way to Bonham's, London's Goodwood Revival car sale this September 14th.
Which includes a slew of other cars like Austin Martin. So this giant truck in between these roadster, speedster vehicles could quite possibly sell for more than one of them.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this truck, I mean, like, interesting in general, what you just kind of like said, it's, you have all these like flashy supercars, and then out of nowhere you have this sort of like dusty, like painted Volvo truck that is painted by Banksy. And it is authentic because his art handling department, called Pest Control, signed a certificate of authenticity, which is going to come with the truck.
Side note, awesome name, by the way.
Pest Control.
Fantastic. So the artwork that's depicted on the truck itself, what is that based on? Because I know there's always some kind of satirical humor to whatever he posts.
So for this one, I was doing research and I couldn't really find anything. When you see this truck, there's so many like visual components to it. Like you see like a firearms unit, you see like blue collar like employees like donning like like mechanical like one suits. You see like chimpanzees, and then out of nowhere you see like throwies and like wild style letter forms. So there's like a lot going on in here. I tried to see if it's tied to anything in Spain, because he painted this on like New Year's Day in Spain back in like 2000. But there's like this so much like this visual explosion. I can't really tell like what reference it is, but he's always championed like the blue collar,
the working
class, Yeah, it's probably just a whole montage of everything of what Banksy is, like a graffiti artist, a political activist,
a political assassin.
Yeah.
Wild with it.
He is wild with it.
I mean, he's had a lot of out of the box kind of installations, I guess you could say. Was it 2005?
In New York City, right?
2006. No, he did a Barely Legal exhibition, and he put a giant elephant in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
To be like the elephant.
And it's
of the
like
room.
painted pink, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have it here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. The fleur-de-lis, like all over it. Yeah, he received a lot of controversy for that. I mean,
I feel like it's nice to have someone who can approach it, because not everybody can appreciate some of the injustices in social situations without help or assistance. And like having something or someone like Banksy kind of drop bombs on people, so to speak, that makes them open their eyes to see these situations. Like, most people go day to day and they're like, you have blinders on and you're not paying attention to the person next to you, the people next to you, whatever their situation is, until like you look down on your phone and you read an article and you're like, oh, that artist, you may have just walked past it and didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like that's how crazy it is. And people are making money off of that, but that's besides the point. That has the ability to kind of change your society's view on what the actual situation is just based on his art. Yeah. And that to me is amazing.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen at the auction when this thing gets kind of like moved to the lot. It's fully functional, by the way, but I'm wondering if there's going to be another situation like the girl with the balloon, the shredding girl with the balloon.
Just blows up.
I hope not.
I mean, like a little explosion on the way.
It might be one of those situations where I don't know, like in New York City, like maybe in 2008, you've seen like that truck that's filled with like a bunch of stuffed animals that he did, and then he did like a whole bunch of stencils like in different boroughs.
Yep.
Yeah, so it might be, I don't know, some sort of like interactive artwork that when that Volvo like truck pulls up, maybe it's gonna, I don't know. I hope it doesn't explode.
I wonder if they're gonna tow it there.
Yeah.
Because if they tow it to the location, that leaves a lot of room for like an ignition kind of deal. Yeah. Like if he turns the ignition, there's a possibility that maybe the walls of the truck just kind of fall off, and you no longer have artwork. Or now you have 3 pieces of artwork. The back trailer and the 2 sides are now all a piece of art. Who knows? Well, now I'm getting my hopes up, so let's not do that. And the minute it does that, that price for that artwork is going to skyrocket, just like that shredding girl with the balloon. Insane. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure like I believe there's an article where he was like actually there. Oh yeah, he was with and triggered the machine. Yeah, which is even crazier that nobody even knows who he is. Yeah, I mean somebody knows who he is, but like, I mean people think that he's the lead singer for Massive Attack. That's like what a lot of claims are on like social media. And throughout my many like interviews with like artists who like helped him out, like D-Face, Paul Insect, and like all these guys, I do think that it isn't he for sure, but I have no idea. It's possible that it could be possible. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that he was also Goldie. You know who dated like Bjork and that famous DJ? Yeah. Do you think it's Goldie? I have no idea. I wouldn't even begin to assume who it could possibly be. I just like the art. Yeah. Whether it's male, female, whatever I'm gender, whoever it is, fantastic. There you go. All right, well, thanks for stopping by. All right, Mikey. It's on the mic, you already know. For the latest in art and design news, follow HYPEBEAST Art on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/art.
Hello, this is Isaac Rouse, associate editor here at HYPEBEAST. We're talking about the new Bad Boys for Life trailer, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence returning, and the internet response to the trailer dropping. Okay, I'm with this. I saw Bad Boys many years ago. Yeah, it's fantastic. Loved it always. Didn't enjoy the sequel as much as the first, not gonna lie to you. The trailer scared me a little bit, not gonna lie to you. Well, I think that's the thing about Bad Boys as a franchise. It's just such a hood staple, but it's also like Michael Bay's not produced, but directed both of the movies. So it's like it also has like this blockbuster feel to it. So it's like mainstream appeal, also like very indicative of like hood classics as well. Has like cross-pollination. So it's like been hotly anticipated for the next installment. And people were happy to hear about it. You know, Will Smith is like, he's still like at this peak of like internet stardom right now. The greatest of all time. You heard me say it here. Will Smith will go down in infamy. One of the best, I mean, people, even though I don't know him personally, best people, funniest person, best TV show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like musically, never had a curse. Like he's just He will be on, like, in the discussions of the Mount Rushmores of Hollywood. He has to be a name.
Yes,
tossed
I 100% agree.
And we're in this like new age of nostalgia. So like, what better time for there to be a Bad Boys 3?
We're not going to talk about Aladdin.
But, you know, we got the trailer. Internet reactions were very just, you know, kind of lukewarm to like,
I feel like so the time
positive.
gap between these movies is vast. It's not like 2 or 3 years and you get a new one. It's a jump. You're like going forward in time. So it's a pretty big time jump in between movies. 1, 2, and 3. You got 1995, 2003, and now 2020.
Yeah, now that you put that in perspective, that is a huge jump.
So in retrospect to like what we're talking about right now, that is a lot of time. And like kids that are growing up probably aren't as familiar with how much of a pinnacle Bad Boys was back in 1995. Like Tia Leone, like it was rated R.
Right.
I had to like, my mom had to drop me off to that movie. She was like, rated R, I don't know if I want to let you go see this.
I agree. Like the drawing point back when it originally came out, you know, you got Will Smith, star. Martin Lawrence, star. You got Martin on Fox, one of the hugest sitcoms ever. When it comes out, the second one comes out. Everybody loved the first one. Everybody wanted to see a second one. Michael Bay is coming back. All the characters are coming back. Gabrielle Union. Now there's been like a spinoff series of Bad Boys where it's like Gabrielle Union and she has like a partner and like
I don't have time for any of that.
none of that.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
So like I feel like that kind of dowers down sort of like the return of a Bad Boys.
Absolutely, 100%.
And then you get the trailer and like you said, that huge time gap. People don't necessarily, at least younger people, weren't there for like the Martin Lawrence wave.
They heard about how crazy he was, I'm sure.
They
but
did.
like,
And not his stand-up special. Literally him standing in L.A.
on top of a car.
On top of a car.
Wilding out.
They know Will Smith, but they don't know Will Smith like, they know he's like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but they are more like internet sensation Will Smith, Aladdin Will Smith.
What have you done for me lately, Eddie? You know, like I refer that line all the time because it's like, that's really what it is now. It's what have you done lately that's relevant enough for them to pay attention to you? And it sucks that that's the way that social media has created our perception of things or made us perceive things. So what I'm looking at is this. So Aladdin is the most recent thing that Will Smith has done, right?
Right.
So
it's his biggest box office in his career so far.
If you look at that in retrospect to maybe 2003 when Bad Boys came out, he's been a little quiet. He just restarted his Instagram. Was it like last year or a year and a half ago where he actually started Instagram, which is kind of crazy. So he wasn't relevant in that way, which is where most people are viewing you. So obviously he's getting more acclaim. Gemini Man is the next one that's coming out, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm probably more, there's more anticipation for Gemini Man for me than it is for Bad Boys at this point, which is kind of crazy to say.
Wow.
I saw Martin and I was like, that's not it, Chief.
And that's what people are, I think a lot of criticism is coming from, not just like, you know, the comedy or how the trailer was cut or the action. It's like looking at Martin, and the thing about Martin, he's aging in the natural progression of how people age, and Will Smith is Will Smith.
Facts.
Will Smith is 50 years old and he looks fantastic. Put up a shot between Bad Boys 2 and Bad Boys 3. A little gray, but...
A little bit more Aki, a little more muscle on the bone.
But it's essentially barely a difference. Martin Lawrence has not been in front of the screen in a very long time. I feel like when we started getting first looks, a lot of Big Mama House jokes was coming out. And then like the trailer comes out and they're
still coming.
And
they're still coming.
It only just makes those kind of comments kind of worse. And I feel like the movie's gonna have its audience no matter what.
Well, I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go see it the night it comes out. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, I'm still gonna go watch it because of the name Bad Boys.
Absolutely.
That's neither here nor there. The other thing, like what you're talking about with the Martin thing, is like I grew up watching that movie. So to see someone who was so young the first time I saw it look older and much more different makes me feel older and much more different. Like but that's like the correlation that it's the underlying thing for some people.
The movies play at nostalgia, but it's...
I'm trying to get away from life when I go see that 2-hour movie, not think about, my back hurts sitting in this chair. You're like,
look at Martin, man. It's like he's getting older.
I remember when he was skinny doing Shanae, like I can't
Yeah, like
That's not what I want to do right now. Look how depressing this is.
I literally grew up on Martin's show. Like cable goes out, we recording VHS copies of the Fox reruns just so we got something to watch.
No. So realistically, back to Bad Boys. I don't want to deviate too much. So we have Bad Boys 3. I love the Michael Bay aspect of this, where it's explosions, there's gunfights, there's a motorcycle scene. I have no idea what this movie's about.
I mean,
It sounds like the second one. Did you hear the dialogue?
That's exactly what people are saying. It's legitimately the plot of the second movie. He's threatening to retire because he's reaching a certain age.
I mean, he should retire now, 100%.
He should. I was hearing whispers. There were early reports of there being a younger kind of detective that will take his spot.
Well, they
that
were
Will
singing.
Smith is playing off of.
They were singing bad. There was like 3 kids
Right.
singing the song. There's definitely, and somebody definitely gets hurt. You can tell by that. Like there's definitely some lead into either probably Will Smith, like getting hurt and Martin having to do more work than he usually does. I'm making a guesstimate right now.
See, I'm thinking it's the opposite because there's a couple of scenes where like Martin looks like he's injured, but he's like
Because he have the glasses on. It's like HD.
and the glasses is making him like extra old and stuff like that. I feel like those 3 younger characters will be like the determination if there will be like a spinoff. Like Hobbs and Shaw of like Bad Boys as a franchise.
I will say this. So like, I like the witty approach to the first Bad Boys when they're trying to sing a song. You don't even know the words when they're sitting in the car and they're singing it. And Martin's like, oh, those words are hard to learn. Like but like most people don't get that joke because they didn't see the first one. So like
nobody, like kids don't know about Cops. Like they might catch a rerun, but they see that aspect ratio. Like they're not sticking around for that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I like the progression of that joke, but like, it's to play it nostalgia. Only nostalgic people will really get that joke, and other people you have to explain that joke to.
And for that reason is why I'll go see it.
Yeah.
Just for that. You know what I'm saying? Bad boy. Bet you didn't think you'd have a hole in your leg. You know what I'm saying? Like I could probably quote that whole movie for you if I needed to, just because I've seen it so many times. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, Isaac.
Of course, man.
Zaps on the mic. For the latest in entertainment news, follow HYPEBEAST on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/entertainment.
My name is Jake. I'm an editor here at HYPEBEAST, and this week I'm going to talk about the recently announced OAMC Supreme collaboration. Specifically, I want to focus on OAMC. I'm sure everyone listening is familiar with Supreme, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the collaboration a bit and go into more of OAMC's role as a brand. So one thing I do want to touch on before delving into it is I do think it's worth mentioning that this isn't Supreme's first charitable collaboration or initiative, I should say. They did, this collaboration is donating all proceeds to a charity called Immigration Families Together. And in the past, Supreme has done things like they've donated money to the South Bank skate park over in London, and they've done charity sales of t-shirts and similar things. So this isn't their first charitable move, but it is interesting because it's one of the first they've done in partnership with another fashion brand. They did one with Louis Vuitton with a teddy bear not too long ago, but this is interesting because OAMC was founded by Luke Mayer, who used to work for Supreme. He spent 8 years at Supreme. He founded OAMC in 2014. He had some friends like Chris Gibbs from Union LA helping out. But the brand has changed a lot since then. It used to be a sort of a general brand with a more loose design aesthetic. He's really nailed it down recently. It's a lot of military references and technical detailing. The item they worked on with Supreme is a vintage military jacket that they've reworked. It's black jackets that they've printed OAMC's Peacemaker verbiage on in Supreme's Futura typeface. There's co-branding on the back. There's logos at the neck as well. And the interesting thing is that this is a pretty classic piece for OAMC. They've done this before in their own line. Usually it's made in Italy and it's very luxurious. This is more of a utilitarian piece. It fits really well in line with Supreme's own brand view. It's something you can get dirty, you can beat it up. It's already, they actually mentioned in the copy, it's already, some of them have imperfections, kind of a nature of vintage piece. As a military liner jacket, it's also good as a transitional piece. It's very timely.
It actually looks like a really nice jacket, not gonna lie to you. Something I would probably wear. I believe the last one they did before the teddy bear was actually a box logo t-shirt when they dropped it online. Was it the Brooklyn store? One of them was an online drop and it was for charity on the online drop. So.
They did that. They did a box logo for Japan as well for the earthquake, the Fukushima situation. Yes. So this is, it's not their first charitable instance, but the specific thing that I thought was interesting was the partnership with OAMC. OAMC, As far as I'm aware, Luke Mayer, he's talked about his time at Supreme. He's never gone back to work with them since then. He still works on OAMC, obviously, and he's also doing Jill Sander with his wife, Lucy Mayer. She used to work at Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton. She was the head designer for Dior, and now they're doing Jill Sander together. So it's pretty interesting. This is, as I said, sort of an interesting middle ground because it's not even dropping on Supreme's website. It's only dropping September 6th on OAMC's website. No Supreme stores, no Supreme website, only OAMC. It's more of a, you have to wonder if maybe OAMC was going to do their own charity thing and they reached out to Supreme sort of like a signal boost, get the message out there, help move the units. Because obviously, I think OAMC they're a well-known, they're a successful brand. I don't know if our audience is completely aware of the history that they have with Supreme.
They don't.
No?
No, well, maybe I'm not going to just classify everybody as not knowing, but I was unfamiliar until I started reading the article. I was like, oh, okay. And I've been following streetwear forever. So like, I don't know. Then I'm pretty sure there are a couple of people that don't know either. So if you want to delve into that, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, of course. It's
you kind of did already.
Yeah, it's a little more fashion forward. Like I said, it used to be a little bit more technical, a little bit more casual, but he had elements of tailoring in there, Luke did with the OAMC. And now it's gotten to a point where he does a complete collection from knitwear to outerwear, pants, even sneakers. They just started working with Adidas on collaboration footwear, but they've done their own footwear for a while as well. What's interesting is that they've never really catered directly to a streetwear market. They've always sort of gone for a more elevated luxury market. Everything's made in Italy. They're based in Italy. They do runway shows in Paris. It's definitely a top shelf brand. There's no compromising.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
They definitely went to Supreme for the exposure.
Right.
Like 1,000%.
It's interesting to get that crossover, yeah.
That you have to actually downgrade from what you would normally be doing.
Sure,
Just to get, well, I'm more than welcome to say, because if you're everything is made in Italy and you're on this different tier than Supreme is, because Supreme, I mean, let's go $45 t-shirts or $38 t-shirts is a little different from the price point that you're talking at OAMC.
Of course.
So you're basically going to someone who makes quality underneath you to get more exposure, which I don't know if that's kind of a kick in the, I'm not going to say the word, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I have to go outside of my wheelhouse, even though it is his wheelhouse because he worked at Supreme, but I have to go below me to get above me, so to speak.
Well, that's what's interesting about the
Conundrum.
collaboration. It's not necessarily a cheaper piece, quote unquote. It is a vintage garment, and you can go to vintage stores. You can find your own liner jackets. They're not terribly expensive, but they're military spec. They're well made.
Let's be real here. I could go to a surplus store and find one of those for like maybe $80.
Of course. Oh, no, not even 20, 40.
I was trying to give it a little extra, a little spice on top.
But that's what's interesting is you don't always see them in black. The normal colors, usually it's an olive. It'll be like a shiny, like a nylon. So this is a cotton twill. It's a little bit more utilitarian, a little bit more of a low-key daily option. There was some thought put into it.
It's definitely going to resell also.
That's what's interesting is, I don't know the retail price yet, but it's safe to say that once they've sold out, the money, and all the proceeds are going to charity, which is nice. No one's making money off this.
Not the secondary market.
That's what I was going to say, though. It's like once the money goes... No, you're right. It's once the money goes to charity and once the units are gone, then it's up to the secondary market to decide, are we going to make even more money than the charities made?
Yeah, that's not even like a question. You
never know.
The thought process is going to go, listen, we're going to sell this on StockX or wherever we're going to go to sell this product for X amount of dollars. And what we're going to do is, as a unit, we're just going to give half that. Let's just give all the money to the charity.
Yeah, no, none of the resellers giving any money to charity. But that's what's interesting is sometimes the stuff that Supreme does, especially recently, you never really know what is and isn't going to have resale value. Something that has a ton of demand behind it may end up being an item that people want to keep in their closet as opposed to trying to flip.
I want to revisit this next week. Okay. I would love to, just to see. I'll check like the stock and I'll check a couple of places to see what it's going for. And if it's not, I'll tip my hat to you, sir.
All right.
Only because I already know like it's one of those things that it's not going to drop on Supreme. So right there you have a draw. Mm-hmm. Once you have not your normal drop, it's also not your normal quantities. It's just an equation for resell a masterpiece.
Could be. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I love it.
You gotta think about like whether or not there is demand, because like we were talking about OAMC, this isn't Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
This isn't household name. So whether or not the fact that it's Supreme is going to contribute to resale is really the only factor here, because OAMC typically does not resale.
I mean, a lot of the time, Let's go with the Christ Piss tee. Well, we'll just name that one off the bat. $110 on eBay. Did they know the artist? No. Supreme, they did. So I always take that into like retrospect. Like most people don't know until Supreme does a collaboration, and then they start to look for them. They're like, oh, that's who that is, or that's who this is. I think that Supreme is the agitator in the situation, and whoever it is just a little spice on top.
Sure.
But that's what a collaboration is. Like we work together. I don't know you. You don't know me. We work together. Now the people who know me know you, and the people you know you.
Right.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Well, it's interesting to point out that some retailers, they've mentioned that OAMC does move pretty quickly, especially the Peacemaker jackets in particular, those liner jackets, which are essentially the same item. I want to say 1 or 2 years ago, there was a capsule of retailer exclusive Peacemaker jackets that all sold out within 1 or 2 weeks.
Huh.
So this item in particular is the OAMC signature, right? So I don't think they could have picked a better
hype
base.
item.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
yeah. So it really is like the best of both worlds in this instance.
I'm definitely going to follow up on this just because
Okay.
I'm curious now just to see where it goes.
All right.
Jake,
bring it
always
in.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
For the latest in fashion and style, follow HYPEBEAST Style on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/fashion. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Hype Report. You can find out more about the show and listen to other episodes on hypebeast.com/radio. You can subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. Leave a comment and let us know what you think about this week's topics. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Mikey Dab, and that's 2 B's. And shout out to the editorial team. I'm Mikey Dab, and thanks for listening to The Hype Report. Any comment, opinion, or suggestion made by any person contained in this episode does not represent HYPEBEAST in any way, and those genuinely are their individual, personal opinion and thoughts towards the topic shared.